Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Max Warframe. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Prime sidearm, once it seems to be a firm favourite with the Tenno, the Lex Prime. Now the Lex Prime is a straight upgrade to the Lex and boasts a fantastic 85 damage a shot, placing it very firmly in the top third of sidearms in terms of damage, with the majority, 68, coming in the form of puncture, and the remaining 17 being split equally between impact and slash, making it fantastic against heavily armoured targets like the Grineer and the Void enemies. The weapon also comes with an absolutely fantastic 20% status chance, with an awesome 20% critical chance and 200% damage multiplier, which makes the Lex Prime amazingly versatile and allows for crit builds, status builds, and the high base damage allows for decent pure elemental builds as well. Due to the weapon having a fire rate on the low end, and it being a single shot, the weapon is fantastically ammo efficient, and running out of ammo during a mission is something that is very rarely done. In addition to all these fantastic features of the Lex Prime, it is also insanely accurate, which means that it can effectively deal with enemies over pretty much any range. Now the Lex Prime isn't without its faults. The reload at 2.3 seconds is not the quickest, and can feel very sluggish and cause issues in extended engagements if not kept a proper eye on. In addition to that, the weapon has quite a kick to it, especially when firing as fast as the weapon allows, meaning that without consideration it can be difficult to keep the Lex Prime on target, especially at range. The recoil is manageable however, and does not do enough to be a significant problem with the weapon, especially since at 2.1 rounds per second, the weapon is not the fastest firing of the single shot sidearms, in fact quite the opposite, and it's actually not too difficult to get used to the recoil and use it in such a way that you can keep the weapon on target at all times. Now the Lex Prime is a pretty easy farm and can be picked up in the locations on the left of the screen now. Now while I'm not going to go through them all, there are endless missions for each of the parts, where the weapon can be farmed in relative ease, alongside the farm for other Prime parts and Void specific items. Also, due to the fact that the weapon only needs 3 parts to be farmed, the blueprint, the barrel and receiver, it also requires a fairly hefty 10 Orokin cells to complete. While not being the highest total Orokin cell count of the Prime weapons, it's still not something to be dismissed. Okay, so let's move on to starting to mod the Lex Prime. Now it does come with a V polarity as standard. However, we're going to add 3 former, which is another 2 Vs, and a dash. Now on our builds we're going to go for a primarily crit based build, which means the majority of the mods between the 3 builds are going to remain the same. We got Hornet Strike for damage, Barrel Diffusion for multi-shot, Lethal Torrent for increasing that fire rate as well as more multi-shot. We got Pistol Gambit for crit chance, and Target Cracker for crit damage. Now for our Grineer build we're going to go with a viral heat damage, and we're going to go with a mixture of status mods and normal mods. So we're going to go Pistol Pestilence Frostbite to bring up viral damage, and Primed Heated Charge, which is going to also bring up the heat damage. Now for our Corpus build we're going to go with Frostbite and Convulsion to bring up magnetic damage, and Pistol Pestilence for the toxin damage against the fleshy corpus. And for our normal Void without the corrosive projection, and also for the infested, we're going to go with Pistol Pestilence and Jolt for corrosive damage, and Primed Heated Charge for the heat damage as well. Now if you're going corrosive projection build in the Void, we're going to go with the first build that we're going to go with the same as the Grineer, so Pistol Pestilence Frostbite and the Primed Heated Charge. Okay, so now on to my recommendation as to whether I feel the Lex Prime is worth the farm, worth the resources and the time invested. And the answer is absolutely yes it is. The Lex Prime is one of the top sidearms in the game. That combination of damage, crit, status and awesome accuracy makes it an absolute beast. And I know that people wonder why it's taken me so long to review this weapon and to max it, and there's one very simple reason for that. The AK Lex. With the Lex Prime I've always felt that, like the Bronco Prime, it's going to end up with a dual version of it. And rather than invest a whole bunch of former and potatoes into a weapon that could very soon end up being a part in another weapon, I always shied away from doing that. However, since the last Prime was the Vasto, I feel that maybe an Lex Prime isn't something that's on the cards and have decided to finally review it. The Lex Prime has been one of those weapons that people have always mentioned to me as a fantastic sidearm. However, I just never got around to doing it. And I'm glad that I did. The awesome flexibility of it combined with that fantastic damage has immediately put it high on my list of great sidearms, and it's something that I could genuinely see myself using fairly regularly. I am a fan of the single shot semi-auto sidearms, you know, the Merlock, the Basto, the Bolto, and the Lex Prime for me ranks as highly as any of those. While it might lack some of the damage of the Merlock, it makes up for it with that incredible accuracy, able to pull off headshot after headshot. The fact that the weapon fires slowly really isn't an issue, especially when you take into account lethal torrent, which helps to buff that fire rate, and extended use of the weapon will help to improve accuracy, since it's fairly easily manageable with a little bit of use. The weapon itself, also with its fairly low requirements to build, can actually be an ideal weapon to upgrade to fairly early on as a new player, provided you can unlock a planet where Orokin cells are easily farmable. The abundance of cheap to upgrade mods, especially now you can get the majority of the dual stats in Spy 2.0 missions, means that a max build other than the Hornet Strike is actually pretty easy to achieve. And the fact that it comes with a V polarity as standard means that it's even easier to mod effectively without the use of Former. Something that should be considered by a new player if they want a decent sidearm. So in essence, great damage, great accuracy, and one of the most versatile sidearms in the game. The Lex Prime absolutely deserves a look for your regular arsenal, as it is an asset to anybody. Now, just a quick little update from me. I understand that this week was kind of slow in terms of videos from me. However, I have been extremely busy with a quick little side project, helping a friend of mine with an entry into a War Thunder video competition. I've been incredibly busy helping with footage, as well as doing some of the voiceover work, leaving very little time for me to get my own episodes out. However, this is now complete and has been released, so feel free to check out my friend Stuntman's channel in the description below, and I've also included a link to the video that we spent the week working on. Thanks for being patient with my lack of content, and normal service will now be resumed. As always guys, many thanks for the support, it's been incredible. Please remember to leave a like and subscribe, it helps me out a ton, and I shall see you in the next episode.